turban that you are seeing on my head. I chose to be the model today. I'm the model. So I chose to be the model today. Anyway, I used my model, sha, but I just say, okay, let me wear it on my own head at least, so that at least I will just show my face in this video today. So you can see that the turban is a detachable one, so you can actually detach the roses from the turban. That's the bow you can detach and fix. So sometimes you can use this turban as a plain turban, and at other time you can have the bow, and at other time the bow can be lying flat. So we are going to start with all the measurement of the fabric that we will need. So we are starting with the measurement of the bow. The length of the fabric is 21 inches. 21. The length of the fabric is 21, or the length of the material is 21 inches, but the height, as in how high it is, the height or the width is 14 inches. Okay, so how high the bow is 14 inches, but the length is 21, and I will be folding it into two. So when you fold 21 into 2, you get like 10.5. Yes, so we are going to sew round, and then we'll leave a part of it opened, which will allow us to fix in um it will allow us to fix in the chest wording. That's the chest wording you are seeing in my hand there. So it will allow us to fix in the chest wording, and then the chest wording is going to be the same height with the material, but it's not going to be the same length, so that it can fit in properly. And then we are going to have a belt that we'll use to belt the bow. But while we belt the bow, we will belt it together with the cap. So that's why I'm using 8 by 12, because I want it a little bit bold. All right. All right, then we will now talk about the turban itself. By the way, the material I'm using is shirt, that is silk, that satin that is stretchy. So this is the band of the turban, and then that is 3 inches on a fold and 6 inches when you open it. 3 inches on a fold, 6 inches when you open it. And then we will also need the material that we would be using for the turban, and that material I will be using 30 by 30 inches. This length of the band is 31. I don't need up to 31. When I start sewing, I'm going to reduce it, but I just have 31 because that's the length of the material I'm cutting already. Then this is the body pleat, because I want to create a body pleated turban. So this is where the one I'll be using for the body pleat. So you can do 28 by 28, or you can do 30 by 30, just a square. But I think the least or the smallest size that you can use is 28 by 28, so that when you are sewing, you can have a space to allow the turban to drop a little. All right, so we'll go to the sewing machine to sew. So the first thing I would do is to prepare the belt. So the belt part, which I showed you just now, that is 13 by 8 inches, I will turn it right side facing right side, and then sew it through the back. So I felt, well, is wide, so I shorten it by 1 inch to sew. So I'll trim out that excess part. After sewing it, I just like trim off the excess and then turn it over. There's I had to turn out the right side. I turn out the right side after trimming this excess part out. All right, this tutorials is beginners friendly. This training is beginners friendly. I just want to assume, that's why I'm just showing you everything I need to. so that if it's your first time after watching this video, you should be able to produce for yourself. So after we sew that, we turn it out, then we'll bring the part that we are going to be using to create the bow. I told you before that the length is 21 inches by 14, so the height is 14. So we just sew L shape. Remember that when you fold now, there's a part that is already covered, so there's no need going ahead to sew that part anymore. So we are going to sew it like in shape L shape. All right, so we'll leave one part open. That's why it is L shape. So we'll leave one part opened. The part that we leave opened is the part that will allow us to fix in the chest wording, to the um to fix in the chest wording to the material. So we just trim out the excess parts. We trim it out and then turn it over. When you turn it over, you fix the chest wording. So if you see the chest wording is not resting properly, so I have to like bring it out and then trim a bit out of it, then fix it back. And then the part where I opened to fix it in, that part now, you will need to close it. And you can close it in two ways. It is either you fold it inward neatly and then you sew it. But if you do not want the sewing to show like mine, because I actually sewed mine, if you do not want the sewing to show, then you can just fold it inward and then use the glue. You can use the E7000 glue to just like close it up before you fold. So with that one, you are not going to see the lines of the sewing. All right, okay, so let me just chip in a little. Let me just welcome those persons that are discovering creative hands for the first time. I celebrate you. Thank you so much for stopping by Creative Hands International. And if you like our video, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel before you leave today. And I will also be glad if you can recommend the channel to other persons. So thank you very much for stopping by our channel. So I'm creating the body pleat now. Don't worry, forget about the fact that the video is being fastened. What I'm just simply doing is taking at least 2 inches distance and folding and sewing, so you at least you can see the folding. So if you take 2 inches, the distance of 2 inches from your first sewing, and then you sew it down, fold it again another 2 inches, you sew it down, fold it again another 2 inches. So before you know, you just have your lines all over the material, and that is what we call the body pleat. It's very easy to do. Sometimes you can even rule it down. So now I want to line the caps. I want to line it. I want to like double it up. So I have to get another material that is plain, the same length as in 30, but the width this time is not going to get to 30. So the width can be like 15, because after body pleating this material now is going to be shortened. It's no longer going to be 30. So after body pleating, it might fall to 14 or 15. So the plain material you are going to be attaching to it will be the length, which is 30 by 14 or 15. So what I did was to just place the band facing myself, and then I used the body pleated to cover it, right side facing right side. And like this, it is ready. This tutorial is very short, just that I was trying to explain everything. Assuming I was fastening everything, I would have been through, but I just want those persons that are new to be able to do it. All right, so this is the part we prepared for the bow, and this is how I fold front, back, just like we are pleating the normal those type of fan we pleat with paper. You understand? Just back and front folding, back and front equal folding, protecting the first pleat. You understand? Ensuring that the pleat is not leaving your hands. So you continue until you get to the finished or the finishing line. Sorry. And then you hold it at the midpoint, that is the middle, and then you can use your needle and thread to sew it down. If you are not sewing down, of course, you can use your needle and thread and just tie, because you need to like secure it. If you don't secure it, you will lose what you've created. So we just secure it with needle and thread. It's okay if you just want to wrap it with the belt, but it's not, you will not be able to pull it out, and again you will need to sew it. So if you are not going to sew it, then there's no need for that. Just use your needle and thread to hold it down first, and then before we use the belt on it. So when we are going to use the belt on it, we'll be attaching um the bow together with the turban. That is where the whole essence of this tutorials lie. It's not because you cannot prepare a bow, it's not because you cannot prepare the body plated turban, but this is how you fix this bow between this turban, and then ensure that it's actually sitting properly. All right, so we are done preparing the bow. It will be time for us to fix it. So to do that, we are just going to put it on top of the turban at the middle. So I'm actually holding the midpoint of the turban, and then I'm placing the midpoint of the bow on the midpoint of the turban, and from that point I will belt it. So when I belt it, I would be sewing. So two ways to sew it. I don't know, because I chose a black fabric, I might not really be able to give a proper explanation on this aspect, because I believe that you might not really be seeing it the way you ought to. So but when you hold it that way, you can just like use your needle and thread and sew, or you can take it to the sewing machine and sew that part. And again, you can sew it inward such that the point where you sew it would not need to show. So after doing that, you are going to be bringing these two parts of this turban that are separate now. You are going to be bringing it together. That is the part that is forming a V that you can see now. We are going to bring it together and then sew it close. So after we sew this part close, we are going to go ahead and turn the turban again, and then sew the base using the normal measurement of our base, because this satin is a stretchy satin. Assuming it isn't stretchy, you can add your belt to it so that it will enable the base to be well seated. All right, I believe that if you watch the rest part of this video without me having to explain anything, you would be able to make your own sample. You'll be able to make it for yourself, and it might even be more gorgeous than my own. All right, so I thank you so much for watching till this point. i will I promise I will see you in my next video. So do have a nice day. From my end, it will be bye.